Howdy freaks, and welcome to a brand new series on my YouTube channel, Genre of the Week, or for short, GOTWA. So this is an almost, maybe, possibly weekly, maybe video series where I use my massive amounts of production experience to replicate various styles of hip-hop and electronic music. So let's get into the spicy beats. This week I'm gonna show you a track I made replicating that old school New York style of hip-hop. Sort of in a De La Soul, Nas, Tribe Called Quest vibe. Pretty subtle, minimalistic, and most importantly, really jazzy. Luckily, my favorite way to produce beats is to use samples because, I have no melodic ability whatsoever. So for this track, I pulled the drums from a funkadelic song called Good Old Music, which originally sounded like this. Sexy. And then for the melody, I found this old jazz standard called Georgia on My Mind by some old jazz guy, and for this beat I used a solo piano performance by a YouTuber named 7 Note Mode, who does really nice piano renditions of popular songs. So that track originally sounded like this. So for this pattern I took each individual drum hit and made it its own little sample, so I could chop up the beat like this. Pattern 2 is an alternate pattern that I layered over the first one to give it a little bit more punch over the sections that are overlapping. And pattern 3 is a more mellow beat for the quieter parts, or what we in the trade call the verses. You'll also notice I added this nice, subtle hi-hat that I got from the Fruity Loops built-in samples because I'm lazy. Pattern 4 is a nice, thick, detuned sub-bass, which I made in 3x Oscillator. It just follows the main chord progression, and I have that going back and forth between this little 808 bump that I got from a sample pack called Dollar Bin Drum Ensemble, which is full of wonderful magic samples and shit, and it sounds like this. And that's just doubling up the kick pattern from the main beat. Next we have the main piano sample, which I sped up to match the drums. I also put a filter on it with some delay that opens up throughout, and it sounds like this. And finally, I made a super cool special magic sound by cloning the piano and putting a ring modulator and a filter on it. Then I added some delay and reverb, and you get a cool spaceship laser squelchy 303 thing, which sounds like this. Or this. Or even, if you're very lucky, this. So yeah, that's all the sounds in this track. It's pretty sparse, but hey, I found something to use a ring modulator for in 2016. So here's a little music video I made for this track out of footage of me and Megan doing shit around our apartment complex and the greater town we live in as a whole. We're actually leaving this place soon and moving back in with my parents because, stereotypes, and I thought it would be really nice to have a little video montage of a good day in the town we live in, which will remain undisclosed. So yeah, here we go. I want to be that dog.